fighting the greatest fighter that ever lived.
So, Mike Tyson has just fired back at Jake Paul after the problem child crossed all limits at their recent press conference. On August 18, 2024, these heavyweight titans faced off in New York City for their upcoming, highly anticipated clash of the eras, and let's just say, Jake took things a little too far with trash talk by making slick comments about Mike's health. Now, you know Mike isn't one to take these shots lying down, and man did he fire back. Mike Tyson has hit the roof and fired back at Jake Paul after his latest verbal jabs at the boxing legend. With Jake constantly poking the bear by taking shots at Iron Mike, the boxing legend's brutal responses have the entire fight world talking. An angry Mike Tyson isn't a man you'd want to mess up with. It looks like Jake has dug his own grave and there's no way out. So how did we get here? Let's break it all down. Jake Paul's been poking the bear for a while now, but it looks like he finally took it too far. At the most recent press conference, Jake decided to take some low blows, making comments about Mike Tyson's health that rubbed Iron Mike the wrong way big time. Jake basically implied that Tyson's age and past struggles might make him an easy target, saying things like,
"Yeah, you had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before, you needed a little break. Your tummy hurt?"
"You had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight," Jake sneered, with all the maturity of a schoolyard bully. "So yeah, what about that, dog? I was ready before you needed a little break. Your tummy hurt? Your tummy hurt still?" Mike's known for keeping his cool, but this time, he wasn't having it. The minute those words left Jake's mouth, you could feel the tension in the room spike. Tyson hit back hard, and he didn't hold anything back. In a series of verbal smackdowns that have the entire fight world buzzing, Mike let Jake know exactly what's up. He looked Jake dead in the eyes and said, "You want to talk about my health? How about you worry about yourself when I'm standing across the ring from you? I've been in this game for decades. You're just a kid trying to make a name off someone else's legacy. Come fight night, I'm going to show you what real power feels like." Tyson didn't stop there, though. He made it clear that Jake's antics might get him attention, but they're also going to get him knocked out. "You think you can clown me and walk away? You're about to find out that playing with fire gets you burned," Tyson continued, his voice dripping with intensity. The whole room was electric. You could hear a pin drop as everyone took in just how serious Tyson was. This wasn't just hype. This was a warning. And honestly, if this press conference had the job of hyping up the fight and selling tickets like hotcakes, mission accomplished. The tension between these two fighters has reached a boiling point, and the fans are eating it up. Everyone's talking about it. Social media is blowing up, boxing forums are on fire, and even casual fans are glued to this drama. Now let's talk about Jake Paul. Don't get me wrong, the guy can throw some punches. But let's be real, he's in this game for the fame and the money. He's fought some decent opponents like Anderson Silva and Tommy Fury, but none of them are on the same level as Ali's. Ali fought the absolute best of his era. Guys like Sonny Liston, Joe Frazier, and George Foreman. Legends of the sport. Jake? He's fighting retired MMA guys and other YouTubers. There's a huge difference. Ali was about legacy, about being the greatest. Jake seems more focused on his next Instagram post, so of course Tyson went off on him, calling him all talk and no show. Iron Mike was like, "Where's your Ali moment, Jake? Who have you fought that's even close to that level?" Mike Tyson was not here for Jake Paul's bullshot. The Iron Mike came in with one mission, to warn Jake. And boy, did he deliver. He straight up told Jake that his health depended on this fight.
Be in shape, be in good shape, because your health depends on it.
Let's get one thing straight. Iron Mike is a one-man wrecking ball. Tyson's got those hands, and we all know what he can do. We're talking about a guy who could knock people out with a jab, a hook, an uppercut, you name it. His power is insane. Remember when he dropped Michael Spinks in 2 rounds? Or how about that devastating knockout of Trevor Berbick? Tyson's punches had incredible kinetic energy. It's like he was throwing grenades. And let's not forget that he's the guy who bit off an ear in the ring. That's how savage he is. Jake Paul is literally putting his health on the line, stepping into the ring with him. The problem child is in for a rude awakening. Tyson completely humiliated him, telling him to keep his big mouth shut.
Every time these fighters sit across from me and it's YouTuber, it's Disney Channel, all that shit, and then you end up on the fucking canvas and you'll see. It's gonna be no different here, I promise you that.
Yeah, Jake's all like, I'll send Tyson crashing onto the canvas. And if anything, this gave fight fans a good laugh. I mean, Jake has completely lost it. He's roaming around, acting like he's the king of the boxing world just because he bagged a KO win last month. You haven't been in the loop? Let me bring you up to speed. Jake stepped into the ring with Mike Perry last month on July 20th, 2024. The two fighters faced off in Tampa, Florida, where the problem child picked up a sixth-round KO win against the bare-knuckle brawler. The fight world didn't sing Paul any praise for this win because it was clearly a mismatch and another case of Jake cherry-picking opponents to come out on top with ease. If you ask me, Jake's the culprit and he shot himself in the foot by picking a bone with Mike Tyson. Oh, you're not up to speed? Sit tight. I've got the whole scoop for you. Jake Paul entered the boxing scene in January 2020 against Anison Gibb. After coming out on top in his debut, Jake picked up a series of wins against retired basketball players and MMA fighters such as Nate Robinson, Tyron Woodley, Anderson Silva, and Ben Askren. This was the start of the Jake Paul hype train. But here's the thing. His fans were far from real boxing fans, and it was actually his YouTube audience that followed him to the sport. Real boxing fans knew that it was too early to call Jake a real pro boxer, so when the athlete revealed he had his eyes set on the one true legend, Mike Tyson, it rubbed everyone the wrong way. Jake has made a name for himself by calling out big names and stirring the pot, but going after Iron Mike was just a tad bit too much. Tyson initially laughed off Jake's challenge, but fast forward to now, these rivals are set to settle the score at AT&T Arena in Arlington, Texas on November 15th. So what changed? Well, Jake's taunts continued, and it became clear that this wasn't just a publicity stunt for him. He genuinely wanted to put up gloves against Mike Tyson. And that's when things started heating up. Mike's fed up with the whole influencer boxing scene, and he doesn't want a bunch of YouTube kids to take over the sport. Come on, influencer boxing is taking away the true beauty of boxing, and the legend has had enough. He's taken an oath to finish Jake Paul in the ring and put a stop to the rise of influencer boxing. The fight world is backing Iron Mike up. Everyone's sick of the problem child posing as a legitimate boxer, and that too only after going up against retired athletes. The only legit boxer he has ever fought was Tommy Fury, and look at how that turned out. There's no denying that Jake's got some serious punch power, but is it enough to put him in the same ring as Mike Tyson?
Mike Tyson, a fellow for whom everybody predicts a great future. If they can find some fights for him.
With Cooney and Carl Williams in their training camps, and he was quoted as saying not too many weeks ago that...
Now we all know Mike, right? He's the former heavyweight champion known as the baddest man on the planet. For a reason. He's a freaking legend who has redefined boxing multiple times throughout his career. You can't really hate this man after all he has done for the sport. On the other hand, you have a newbie YouTuber going after 58-year-old Mike Tyson to cement his status as a serious boxer in the game. The boxing legend has been taking the upcoming fight pretty easy, but Jake has made him lose his chill. He's about to regret this real soon. Jake Paul's decision to clown Mike Tyson might just be the biggest mistake of his career. Let's be real. Jake's been on thin ice with the fight world for a while now. He's ruffled plenty of feathers, but somewhere between taking cheap shots at Tyson's health and comparing himself to Muhammad Ali, the fight world finally had enough. I mean, the audacity to put himself in the same league as the greatest? That's when everyone got a good laugh at the problem child's delusions and honestly lost all respect for him. The thing is, Jake's built his brand on being the bad guy, the one everyone loves to hate. But this time, it's different. The whole fight community is done with him. They see through the antics and realize that Jake's bark is way louder than his bite. When you start disrespecting legends like Tyson and Ali, you're not just poking the bear, you're digging your own grave in the fight world. It's like Jake's trying to climb a ladder by stepping on the very people who built the sport, and that's not flying with anyone. Now let's talk about why Jake versus Mike is a lose-lose situation for Paul. On one hand, if Jake somehow pulls off a win, it's not exactly a victory he can be proud of. He'd be beating a man who's pushing 60, a legend who's way past his prime. Sure, the headline might read, Jake Paul defeats Mike Tyson, but anyone who knows the sport will see it for what it is, a cheap win against an aging icon. It's not going to earn Jake the respect he craves. Instead, it'll just reinforce the idea that he's taking the easy route to glory. On the other hand, if Jake loses to Tyson, well, that's even worse. He'd have to face the fact that he couldn't beat a way past his prime version of one of the greatest fighters to ever step into the ring. Imagine that, a young, supposedly hungry fighter getting taken down by a 50-something-year-old Tyson. The memes would write themselves, and Jake's credibility in the boxing world would take a serious hit. It's not just a loss in the ring, it's a loss of face, reputation, and whatever respect he still has left in the sport. The only silver lining for Jake in this whole mess? Having his name next to Mike Tyson's on paper? That's it. Sure, he'll always be able to say he fought Tyson, and that might get him some headlines. But beyond that, there's not much to gain. The fight world is already looking at him like a joke. And win or lose, this fight isn't going to change that. So there you go, fight world, that's all I have for you today. What are your thoughts on Mike Tyson just firing back at Jake Paul after he clowned him? Fill in the comment section with your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more boxing news. See you in the next video.